This whole time, apparently, because I connected the wrong USB cable. So anyways, just to fast forward here again. This whole time, apparently, because I connected the wrong USB cable. So anyways, just to fast forward here again. This whole time, apparently, because I connected the wrong USB cable. So yeah, anyways, follow unique at unique underscore NFT chain. This is
I wonder how the Android people are getting on. I wonder if it's this app is working smooth for them.
It's exactly the same as an iPhone.
I have an Android and it works pretty well. And this is my first time on Clubhouse, so so far so good.
Oh, good. I can see your party hat. So that's generally anybody who's new to Clubhouse. I think within a week they have a little party emoji next to their name. So we could see a few people that have it in the crowd as well. So welcome to all the new people.
Yeah, Ilya down there is RMRK's core dev.
Yeah, I invited him up to speak. I don't know if he knows how to come up here.
So be sure to follow at unique underscore NFT chain.
There we go.
This is going to be a live chat on Clubhouse for Polka Haus, cross-chain,
Welcome to the
NFTs,
stage.
RMRK, and Unique Network. So be sure to pay attention to this. Is important. At RMK app.
I would give it a couple more minutes. We usually give it around 5 or 10 minutes before we get going, just to give people time to enter the room.
So this is a Clubhouse chat. My audio was cut for a second there. Whoever didn't tune in, that's fine. But this is the Clubhouse event today at 9 a.m. Pacific Time Standard, 12 p.m. Eastern. They'll be talking Alexander Mitrovic and Bruno Skivork by merging substrate-based cello bricks and Kusama-based Canarias. The partnership represents the first cross-chain blockchain NFTs with composable functionality and evolving traits. This is a huge event. I would say very important information is going to be provided. So I will let this go.
They should be getting 8 emotes each. So pretty much anybody who doesn't have enough emotes will have the maximum number for emoji power.
Specifically the hatching chick emotes, right? Because if you don't get 3 of the hatching chick emotes, then your egg ends up getting burnt after the event. So we're going to keep saving some eggs from being burnt.
Not burnt. It just stays an egg. It rots. It's forever an egg.
So pretty much anybody who has an egg or anybody who buys an egg will immediately be able to hatch it if they wanted to. That is the goal.
Very cool.
All right, guys. We're at 5 minutes past. We can go ahead and get started, and we'll let people keep filtering into the room. We know that during volatile days, a lot of the people huddle in the Bitcoin rooms to try and get some sense of, appeasement of the market volatility. But if you haven't figured out this is a volatile market by now, welcome to crypto. So, welcome everyone to Polka Haus. We've got a great room today. We've got Bruno from RMRK, Alexander from Unique Network. They're going to be talking about the recent partnership that was announced between them, cross-chain NFTs, Canaria eggs, cello bricks, substrabunks, everything NFT related. Welcome everyone to this room. Why don't we go ahead and get started by introducing our 2 guests and the folks from their team as well, because we've got several team members from RMRK and from Unique on here. So, Bruno, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself briefly, although you're a Polka Haus veteran here?
A veteran, yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm Bruno. I founded RMRK, and together with Ilya and Yuri here, have been developing it for the past few months. they can introduce themselves. But essentially, we came together somewhere in January to pull this thing off. I launched Canaria, and it kind of blew up from there. Very, very happy to see the direction in which it blew up. It was very positive. Any questions, just fire them off.
So Bruno, for those who don't know, what is RMRK?
RMRK is an NFT protocol for multi-chain NFTs on Polkadot and Kusama's ecosystem, originally built as a kind of a hack into Kusama, and then it evolved into a set of palettes that a bunch of chains are going to integrate to make it possible to teleport your non-fungible assets across any of these integrating chains very easily and cheaply. In a nutshell, you get the first unofficial shared runtime library of Polkadot through RMRK, and by being able to kind of use all of these individual chains features with your NFTs. And on the side, it's also the most advanced NFT system in the world because of some art Legos that we built that I can get into later.
He says nonchalantly, yes, thanks, Bruno. Congratulations on everything that you guys are building. It is remarkable. Alexander, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and a little bit about Unique?
Sure. Well, although a lot of people in the room already know me and I know them, we have been around for a while now. So I'm Alexander. I created the idea of Unique Network, which is the first NFT chain in the Polkadot Kusama ecosystem. We had a testnet live since August last year when we released it in scope of Kusama. And the way we're designing it, we are building it, is to become and be the most powerful NFT chain out there. And certainly the additions that Bruno and his team are working on are going to kind of really make it take off. They're taking the really interactive side of things, the powerful kind of side of things. We're building the infrastructure pieces, the NFT palette, the stuff that works with Ethereum, the things that go inside the blockchain, and we hope that their stuff, what they're doing, is going to kind of really unleash the power of applications, and people are going to start doing some interactive games finally in the blockchain ecosystem.
That is awesome, Alexander. And
let me introduce we have also Irina and Charu from our team. I'll let them introduce themselves. Irina, you invited me here, so you start.
Thanks, Alexander. Hi, everyone. It's been a while. I haven't been on Clubhouse actually myself. So many of you know me as head ambassador for Western Europe at Polkadot. I've been with the community for a little bit over a year now. I've been following Unique and was very pleased when Alexander invited me to join the project. Just sort of a little bit, nearly 2 months ago. So now empowering artists, building the metaverse, and following all the exciting projects that are going to build their applications on NFT chain. So I'm very excited to be here. Charu, you're next.
Hi everyone. So yes, I lead marketing at Unique, and like Irina, I joined in early May. It's been an exciting ride since then. We've seen a lot of excitement, and the goal is to keep engaging with the communities and drive more fun. Thank you.
Awesome, Charu. Thank you. And Ilya and Yuri, do you guys want to briefly introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ilya, one of the core devs of RMRK team. So we joined the project around January. Yuri, another core dev, knew Bruno for many years, but actually we've been working together for more than 5 years, so we already know each other very well. We basically spread across the stack, although we're mostly full stack developers, so I'm more like on the backend infrastructure layers, and then Yuri on the full stack, and I think another Yuri actually is here. They can introduce themselves. So yeah, now we're on this roller coaster, final stage of hatching logic, and yeah, exciting times ahead. Thank you.
Awesome, Ilya. Which Yuri is going first?
Yeah, we are the Yuris. Sorry, I have a bit of echo here, but hopefully it's fine. Yeah, Ilya basically introduced myself. We were mostly web developers, dreaming of getting into blockchain dev, and Substrate looked like the best possible environment to join. And magically, I saw a post of Bruno, so familiar face on Reddit, because I haven't spoken with him for maybe 3 years. We met at Hackathon in Portugal in around 2016. And then I saw his face on Reddit just in time when we wanted to get into blockchain dev, and I messaged him, and just at this moment there was a project which needed some help, so we started with the open source, got involved as open source, and then from there it started to be more and more demanding of dev time, and this is where we're at now.
Awesome. Yuri number 2, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey everyone. So yeah, Ilya and Yuri pretty much covered it. So we were searching for something interesting to do, and we're hacking away different things. So Bruno's stuff started experimenting with it, and it took off. And since we were, as the guy said, we are a team of 3 that has been working together for 5 years plus. It's pretty effective, so we already knew our roles and how to work together. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for all those intros. The rest of the mods are part of the Polka Haus team that you guys probably already know. So we'll get right into it. Yeah, Bruno and Alexander, I don't know who wants to answer this one, but with all the NFT space evolving, and all the NFT solutions and the different chains that are launching NFT projects like Flow, Luxo, Binance Chain, Solana, and everything that's getting built on Ethereum, right? Plus all the other stuff on the Polkadot ecosystem. What can you guys talk about that differentiates this partnership, RMRK, the interoperability? Can you guys walk us through how this is drastically different than anything we're seeing in the current space?
All right, so this is where Bruno and I started saying, okay, you go first.
Exactly.
All right, so you go first.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I can go first if you like. I like to say things in layman terms, and then you can deepen them up because you do it technically. So, I was answering that question for the last kind of more than 9 months to hundreds of investors and other interested parties, and pretty much comes down to this. So the current NFT world is good for one use case, and that's collectibles. And it's kind of good for it, okay? It's just kind of good. So with Flow, it's good. What Luxo is doing is a very good thing, taking the business side of things and kind of engaging them, but also on a very, very primitive technology. For NFTs, blockchains are yet very, very primitive, okay? I compare that to Web 1 kind of experience, okay? When everything's flat, you can do things very opinionated, is the technical term I guess Gavin likes to use, and they tell you do this way and that's it. So what Substrate brings to the table is a completely new level of technical capabilities. It is generationally a new level blockchain, and for NFTs, it's a gold mine because not only that it's powerful, that's good. I've seen some powerful chains around, but it is very flexible. There are 10 different ways you can do things in Substrate for anything you want to do, and that is what makes it beautiful for NFTs, because NFTs are for unique assets. They all need to something different and done in a different way. So you need just much more flexible and powerful technology, which basically Substrate gives. Two things I like to underline there. First is the modularity, so you can add stuff to the palettes, you can add palettes, and that makes it kind of extendable to anywhere you want to go. And secondly is the forkless upgrade that enable, if you come up with a new palette, which kind of we are working on right now with Bruno on for the nested NFT stuff, you can add it to a blockchain seamlessly. So all of that combined gives kind of innovation, like what Bruno's team is doing, a very green light, so you can really go ahead with it. So Bruno, yours.
Yeah, that's cool from the Substrate side, but I'm gonna tell you about why this is cool in terms of why the symbiosis between RMRK and Unique is really cool. Specifically, Unique has the optimized NFT structures that you need for perpetually cheap and extremely optimized NFT storage and interaction on a chain. When you have NFT standards, or any kind of standards, really, even fungible token standards on Ethereum, what you're doing is you're hacking the chain into thinking it has something it doesn't. You're writing spreadsheets, and those spreadsheets always contain unoptimized text data that you then interpret in a special way. And that's what smart contracts really are. They're just spreadsheets that you kind of configure with special rules and formulae, but it's always text, and it's always going to be very expensive and inefficient to interact with these chains. And this is why a feature like our on-chain emotes for NFTs would never work on Ethereum, because it would drain people's funds and it would not be portable across these different marketplaces. But essentially, Unique has this optimized infrastructure that we can leverage to really take this entire NFT space to some wonderful places. And by adding RMRK's functionality on top of this, we give the NFTs long-lasting utility and liquidity, and that's, I think, a killer feature. Because, well, among other killer features, because when you have an NFT today, you buy it and then it dies, and that's it, and then it waits in your wallet for like a year, 2, 4, until the next NFT hype wave is up, until, I don't know, Gary Vee says something on Twitter or whatever else happens that makes NFTs come to life again. They're digital dust collectibles, right? But if you have an NFT that can have, for example, one of the features is multiple resources, that means that you can define several different alternative resources for the same NFT. And so if I mint something like an ebook, I can mint that one NFT with 3 resources. Its audio version, its PDF version, and the high resolution cover. And if I load it into Audible, it's going to play. And if I load it into OpenSea, it's going to show the cover. And if I load it into Singular, which is our NFT marketplace, you'll be able to read it because of the PDF reader we have there. And so these multiple resources actually have another angle besides just being, adding versatility to the NFT. They let us influence what's shown as the NFT depending on its environment. And so with the Cello Bricks in particular, with the partnership, what we have here is 2 completely unrelated NFT projects, but both compatible with the nested NFT standard, and both compatible with the multi-resource angle. And what this means in a nutshell is you will get an NFT that has 2 resources, Lego styled one, blocky pixelated one, and a 2D stylized one, illustration style vector illustration. These 2 resources will be on the same NFT. But if you equip that NFT into the bird, into the canary bird, it's going to show that stylized 2D version. And if you equip it into the cello, it's going to show that blocky version. And then if somebody builds blockchain Minecraft 5 years later, you can just add a new resource into that NFT that's a 3D render of that same NFT, and it'll automatically be forward compatible with a project it had no idea would exist 5 years before. And so this kind of extends the lifespan of these NFTs and makes them compatible across multiple projects far into the future, which I think is really interesting.
Fascinating stuff, Bruno. Thanks for that information and that kind of rundown. That was actually very interesting. Thank you both. You guys are getting good at handing this question off to one another. Nicholas, did you want to?
I have so many questions, but so I guess I'll start with one that I'm really interested in. So how will the fractionalization of NFTs work? I know, I think it's like Unique is going to take on that aspect of it, or is that my understanding?
Why are you talking future tense? I guess that's the custom for people in the blockchain space, but it's taken care of. If you want, after this call, we can get you in with our, devs can send you the documentation. But you basically you can create today through the fractionalized NFTs in like a few clicks, basically, on Unique. It's already done. It's part of our NFT palette. And what's beautiful about it, it's a native command. So it's not a smart contract that creates it, and it creates right away a fungible token that belongs to that collection. So it becomes immediately very easy to move around, which means liquidity, which means transferability, which means interoperability, all of those good things. So, that's basically, we're taking each, the way we approach building the NFT chain is we're taking each use case, like refungibility is, or shared ownership, and we build it natively so that it becomes much more scalable, much more powerful, much cheaper, much more efficient. Coming back to what Bruno said about smart contracts, they're not really efficient way to deal with the assets like this. Native development is.
How did you resolve the securities issues regarding fractionalization?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how did you resolve the securities issues related to fractionalization?
Which ones?
When you fractionalize an NFT, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so not technical security, she means in terms of regulatory.
Regulatory securities. It's a security, like it is a regulated security.
That's right. Okay. Well, we did not resolve it. That remains a market thing to be done. It's the market that can do that.
So then I would just be cautious if you were issuing an NFT that fractionalized. You might want to say something on there that if you do this, you're creating a security, and you have to make sure that you're in whatever jurisdiction you are issuing it, that you're compliant with the securities regulations or the exemptions to the securities regulations.
I understand what you mean, and that is indeed relevant when the underlying NFT is worth millions of dollars. Our basic assumption is that we will be dealing with much kind of with different use cases. So indeed, when you do that for CryptoPunks, you do need to do that. But there are ways to do that, actually.
Yeah, but it's not based on value. It could be a $5 thing that you fractionalize in 20-cent pieces, but it doesn't, the value, it's function over form. So it doesn't matter how much it's worth.
It actually does. It actually does, because in most jurisdictions there are thresholds for that. But actually, the way that's handled is by adding the legal layer to that. We have spoken, for example, there are already solutions out there and we will implement that as soon as there is an actual demand. But there's a project called Monarch, I believe, that have done a very good solution for managing the legal side of NFTs, and basically, the addition of their platform to the creation of the refungibles would be basically taking care of that issue.
And we've seen other projects. The way that they deal with this is they just basically implement an IP-based geographic block, and so people from like the U.S. just wouldn't be able to participate in the fractional NFTs, I'd imagine.
I just wanted to add to that. I mean, I understand with fractionalization, it actually is quite dependent on the case by case and how it's being promoted and packaged. But did you say you were partnering with Monarch?
Well, we have spoken with them a lot and have decided to implement their solution as soon as kind of there is actual demand for that.
Okay.
Because we see that there probably should be, so we will be doing that as soon as kind of we have the first project that says, well, we have to have this, so we'll do that then.
Right. My question is separate to that, but just Monarch doesn't actually resolve that issue. I know myself and other attorneys were advising Monarch on their project. Great project, mostly off-chain stuff, but I don't think it's addressing the fractionalized issue as of yet, the last that I checked. My question is directly for
Ali, let me interrupt you really quick. We're just going to get through some of the the announcements that the teams need to make first, and then we'll open it up for questions for the rest of the folks on stage. Thanks. Thank you. Taylor, I think you had a question for the team, right?
Yeah, sure. So can you guys talk about like some of the more advanced stuff that these networks are going to be able to do, or already have set up to be able to support?
Sure. So there's actually a pretty detailed post where I list some of this functionality. Yeah, I can share links here, can I?
No, that's one functionality Clubhouse doesn't have.
Yeah. Okay.
You can put them in our Telegram if you want.
Yeah, we do have a very active Telegram community for anyone in the room that's not in there. If you just search for Polka Haus on Telegram, you can find it.
Okay, I'll put it there then. But yeah, in terms of the functionality, like what we're adding, we built basically these art Legos that when put together can let you build an NFT system of any arbitrary complexity. And with that, like one of those art Legos is actually Unique's Lego of being able to turn NFTs into fungible tokens. So this is why our symbiosis that makes that much sense. But for example, the one canonical example that I always cite when I'm asked like what this whole system makes possible is that's community governed virtual real estate management, and that's where if you have like a metaverse, which we plan to maintain at least one, maybe two. If you have a metaverse and plots of land represent NFTs, that is, plots of land are represented as NFTs, and you buy a plot of land, then you have it as an NFT, and that's nothing special, right? You have that already all over the place. But then you go to Singular and you buy a billboard NFT, and that billboard can have two resources: one 3D representation of it, and one 2D icon that you see in the actual marketplace, so you can actually buy it. And so you buy this, and you send that NFT to the land. So now the land owns that billboard. But since you own the land, you can tell the land, hey, equip this billboard. And now the land equips the billboard appears in this metaverse, right? And so, okay, this is cool. Now, let's say that this metaverse is really popular. People are putting on their VR headsets, and the first thing they see is this ad, is this billboard. And so now corporations take notice. They realize that, hey, like we have to put our ad there. This is getting a lot of views. What they do is they mint NFTs that match the size of the billboard, and they send those NFTs to the billboard. But the billboard doesn't equip them. Instead, I, as the owner of the billboard, I fungibilize this billboard into fungible tokens. I sell these tokens or give them away to the community. And now, because our NFTs have commands you can execute on them, like equip, like burn, and so on, now the community can collectively issue these commands. And so now it's up to the corporations to bribe these token holders to pick their ad and not their competition's ad. And so this is kind of like makes all of these art Legos play together, right? So multiple resources, fractionalization, nested NFTs that can own each other, all of this stuff coming together in one nice suite of advanced functionality. And I think this is really powerful for all kinds of like gaming implementations, any sort of virtual reality, any sort of representation of nested ownership, and so on. I think it's really, really cool.
Holy crap, that's awesome!
Hold on. That's not all. That's just Bruno's part. I have something to add, if you allow me.
Yeah, go for it, Alexander. Tell us about the new features on Unique.
Okay, so I don't know, Bruno, have you used scheduling at all for hatching? But we basically enabled scheduling for NFTs, which is something that you cannot do on Ethereum, you can do on Substrate. As simple as that, okay? Thanks to Parity, guys. We taught NFTs how to do that, so that basically you can, schedule the hatching stuff or anything else where a user signs a transaction and then actual result happens, X blocks later. So that's one thing that gamers gaming studios need. Actually, you use that functionality in like 50% of the games.
Why would you not be able to do that on Ethereum?
Gas, because you never know how much gas you're going to need, and because you never know when miners will accept it. Two reasons. So you can't calculate the gas for sure, and there's no way to pre-fund it. That's one of the reasons. I'm not technical enough. I know that guys have scratched their heads a little bit about it, but that's something Parity developed. So, we can ask them. But in Ethereum, you can the way you sign for a transaction, whether it's smart contract or transfer, you just you put in the amount of gas at that moment, and you send it into a queue. So there's two problems. It's the amount of gas you need. Yeah, you can burn a lot of gas, but in anything, if you want to do anything on a kind of scalable level, you don't want to do that. You'll run out of money immediately. And then second thing is that you never know when it's going to mine actually. So you cannot.
Well, there is this project called Ethereum Alarm Clock, which actually lets you schedule transactions in advance, and there's a side network of nodes that are actually relaying your transactions for you and taking a fee on top of this. So it's like a side economy that is responsible purely for delayed execution scheduling of transactions, and this has predictable gas costs, but it's definitely not as reliable as an off-chain execution or off-chain worker execution or a scheduled setup and Substrate by far.
Yeah, it's a workaround, like a lot of things. So Ethereum ecosystem is very creative. I mean, they keep coming up. So the next feature I want to mention, they also have a workaround for, and it's the same kind of a thing where a workaround kind of works, but not really scalable, not reliable, not kind of that. So it's gas sponsoring. Okay, so what I think will be a killer feature for games is, especially if it's to attract mass adoption, is freemium gaming. Okay, that's what we enable. So we natively support sponsoring of transaction fees, so that games can basically abstract out the blockchain piece completely from the user. So the gaming industry is all freemium except for the collectibles market, and the idea there is that you find a user, you get them used to the game, and then they start paying you money. But in blockchain, you cannot do that because they have to pay gas, and that has two problems. First is, how the hell do they get token, how the hell, and also the monetary kind of portion of that, which is sometimes a problem, sometimes not, but it's the actual fact that they need to find a few pennies, or a few dollars or a few dozen dollars, depending on where you do it, and to pay for the gas to do something. So we basically enable natively for each DApp to deploy sponsoring of transaction fees. So they decide when to ask for money from the user. Okay, they basically, this way you give them ability to create a true freemium game.
So it's per application, is that what you're saying, Alexander?
Yeah. Per application, per smart contract, per collection, whatever it is. If you haven't noticed before, the Substrate punks on our first testnet were free to transfer. You don't need unique tokens for that. And actually, we're about to release the in a couple of weeks, I think, the next version of the marketplace where you don't need unique tokens at all. Just don't need them. It's pretty much like, so the experience is the same as on NBA Top Shots, okay? If somebody has played with them, bought, or you can play with them, but you buy them. But the idea is completely to hide the blockchain and to be able to do that for any game, not just collectible game where people are accustomed to paying right away. And where the only types of transactions are monetary by nature, but in any normal game you have lots of things happening before a person before money comes a question, and then and then sometime passes before the next one comes up. So you have to kind of cover that smartly, and we do that again natively.
And Alexander, I don't want to get too technical, but is this based on the runtime implementation or part of a palette that allows you to kind of selectively choose who you charge gas with?
Yeah, it's part of the palette, and it basically asks a smart contract, okay, of the app, where do I go for the gas for this? As in a simplified terms that I can explain.
Gotcha. All right, thank you, Alexander. Someone else had.
Yeah, I think Alan was going to say something. Alan, did you want?
I just wondered. I understand, like on Ethereum, obviously there's gas concerns, but how would this sort of implementation sort of fare against the side chains and layer 2s, which are an extension of Ethereum in some way? So like if you look at like a Polygon or Arbitrum, is there any sort of trade-off analysis with what you've implemented via Polkadot?
Well, first we got to see those implementations really get kind of well used in the gaming context. But they indeed are a good workaround. But I believe that at the end of the day, the economic model stays the same. It's straightforward. It's opinionated. It says user, when they do something, they need to pay for gas. If that gas is a million times smaller, that doesn't remove the fact that they need to pay for it. Just like OpenSea did a great kind of workaround for the minting part. This was a few months ago, where they basically made a solution which mints your NFTs if you're artists as 1155s, and actually they don't lazy minting, where they don't actually mint it until they're sold. Okay, but these are kinds of workarounds that can work for collectibles market only. If you want continuously to kind of have a game do something, then it stops working very quickly. You cannot kind of do that workaround for every damn thing that you do. So, and I don't, we haven't analyzed it against the second layer kind of things. We are only starting to get into that with Sandbox, but so I cannot give you a fair assessment for that yet. But I don't expect actually, I expect on the outcome to have, again, similar level limitations for any scalable activity.
Yeah, and to elaborate, because I see down the bottom we have a lot of folks that do NFTs on Ethereum, and so a bit of the parallel to this on Ethereum is what we know as mana transaction.
Hey, Irvin, you're a little muffled.
Yeah, your mic's cutting in and out, Irvin.
Yeah.
All right. How about now? You guys hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Way better.
Yeah, okay, so perfect. Yeah, I do see that there's a lot of folks down there that mint on Ethereum, and the parallel to what Alexander is saying in Ethereum is known as meta transactions, where essentially the gas cost is paid by the application or a separate smart contract. And so what Alexander is saying is that if, for example, you're minting an NFT on this platform, right? But besides minting, what you usually do is you go ahead and transfer the NFTs across each other, right? Now, within Kusama or Polkadot, or in particular the PAL that Alexander is building, what this allows you to do is actually selectively choose where you're going to charge this gas, right? So that's what you can do as a developer. You can choose, for example, to say that you're only going to charge for gas for minting. But if a user goes ahead and wants to transfer NFTs across different users, then you don't want to charge them for that, right? Maybe that's free for them, or other kinds of use cases within gaming. And so that's what's a bit different from what you can do on Ethereum. Now, of course, if you're a developer using this palette, you're going to have to take care of things like spamming, or perhaps add a cooldown period so that people don't spam the network by transferring assets across. But I think that would help you guys kind of understand the difference between Ethereum and what could be done with what Alexander is mentioning.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to next, Irvin, was like wondering, well, okay, if there's no gas cost, then how do you avoid, like what you said, like a spamming or like where is the economic model to make this, I guess, I'm not saying it's not sustainable, but like how is this going to work, right? To have all the proper incentives in place for security, and then the speed of the transaction and cost and that sort of thing. So I see what you're saying. It's like you have more optionality to design this with what's going on here versus it's almost like you're doing sort of like using delegation in a way. You're sort of like offsetting costs in one place and then maybe bundling them in another place with some other mitigating factors to ensure like a good user experience.
It's actually very simpler than that. So there's two components of what you asked. One is economic. Okay, so how do you kind of make money, and how do you design economy? And the second one is how you enable security. And by security, I mean not spamming the network, because blockchain is limited resource, right? So on the second question, the answer is simple. The game or the app developer just needs to deploy one of several options for spam prevention. First one we built already is whitelisting. Second one is rate limiting. Both are implemented, and then we have some cool ideas about advanced stuff we can do. Try them out. Kind of, they should be working, and we'll do them in the future. So that takes care of the security question, and actually, removes opinionated approach of blockchains that users must do things, then developers must do things one way. It gives them freedom to do it several ways. Doesn't solve the problem for them, but it just gives them options. And then the economic side of things, it's basically, if you think about it, okay, cost of the transaction fee in gaming shouldn't be high. Okay, should be maybe 1 cent, maybe even portion of the cent. What we have today is ridiculous with how much the blockchain transaction costs. It's not supposed to be that way. That's not why we are all in this space. When we all came in, we were saying, okay, it costs $30 to send money to your aunt in Senegal, or to your mother, in India or wherever, and it shouldn't be that much. And we use crypto to do that for 5 cents. It's no longer that it does not longer hold true in successful blockchains. So it should be cheap. and they should be cheap, as Bruno said, permanently. So the idea here is that you basically take the cost of transaction fees, which is should be just a small portion of the cost of the game, just very small, and you give your game producers the ability to manage it any way they want. Okay, so it's not like we are delegating that issue to them. Game producers know the economy better than anybody else, because if they don't, they do not survive. That's because the whole gaming industry is freemium by its nature. Okay, so they know the economy well. They know when they can charge. So basically, for 20 transactions they have to do, they don't have to worry about those 20 cents, because they charge somebody, $10-20 after a month of playing a game for something valuable. They do it there, and that's it. And then they pay for them for another 20 transactions after that, or 1,000 transactions. Doesn't really matter.
James, thanks for going through that. Alan, thanks for the question. We've got some great mods and speakers on the stage that are very knowledgeable in the NFT space, and I'm sure they've got some more great questions for you all. But I do want you guys to run through two things in particular before we kind of open it up to more questions, because I'm sure we're going to get some great ones. Alexander, can you talk briefly about the white label marketplace that you guys are launching, and some of the brands that are going to launch on that? And then also, can you touch briefly on the Substrate Academy piece? Because I know a lot of this is very new, and you guys are going to have to teach, devs how to use all of these advanced features. So can you touch briefly on that? And then when you're done with that, Alexander, I'd like to talk to Bruno a little bit about the Canaria eggs, and let Nicholas give everyone in here a little surprise, and then we'll kind of open it up for the other speakers in the audience to come up and ask you guys questions.
All right, Alex, thanks. I was hoping you were going to say the next question was for Bruno, so it's time to pass on the microphone. All right, so white label marketplace. So I mentioned we released Substrapunks together with our first testnet as a demo to what the chain works. Okay, then those things kind of got attractive. People really started kind of claiming them. They're all gone in like 3 days, and then people actually started trading them, which was a big surprise for us. We did not think that to happen at all. It was kind of but then a few weeks later, somebody came to us from the early community and said, "Guys, can you help me? Somebody just scammed me out of a couple of dozen punks." For me, that was a eureka moment, because if people are trading stuff, that means they value them. But if somebody's stealing something, that definitely means that they're valuable. So we created a marketplace. Our team kind of dug into it, and in a week or two, we had a bridge to Kusama. We were on our testnet, remember, and we still are. So people trading assets on our network with a KSM, and that works pretty damn well. We had like more than 3,000 KSM worth of turnover on that marketplace. So people really, embraced that a lot. And then it became so successful that people started associating us with that. So I was thinking, okay, what would be the good way to kind of really benefit the whole building of the ecosystem? And we decided to take everything we built in terms of tools. So wallet, minting, the gallery, and marketplace, those 4 components, and basically open source them, white label them, and give them to anybody who wants to create their collectibles NFT business away for free. They can take that, and in an hour they can make their own their own solution. That's the bottom line. They can then play. They don't need blockchain devs for that. All they need is a web developer for a short period of time to customize whatever way they want their UI to work, to connect it to their domain, and that's it. but this way kind of things become much more scalable. So for us, this is the way to raise the bar on competition, because that is what the business is in all the other chains. Make a file, mint a file, sell the file. That's what everybody else is doing. What we are saying is that in the Polkadot ecosystem, you do that. You can do that for free. You can do that as much as you want. Here's the software. You need very little investment into that, but then in order to compete, you have to start innovating. Okay, that's the main message. So basically, we're now revamping all of that, releasing kind of our version of that in a week or two. And are continuing to develop that. We're going to have fiat on-ramp for that. We're going to have auctions palette there so that you can sell not only via a fixed price, but also auctions. And there's a number of other features that we plan to add. But basically, the bottom line here is that if all you need from NFTs for NFTs to do is make a file, mint a file, sell the file, and have a secondary marketplace, the whole tool suite is ready. And then you had, second question was about the academy. So no big secret, Polkadot is very successful. A lot of projects want to do a lot of things, but the main asset becomes people who know it. So, and the main bottleneck, I read somewhere as Electric Capital made a very nice report late last year on the number of developers working on different blockchains, and Polkadot was then third, very close to Bitcoin, and I suspect right now it's kind of probably very strong second in terms of number of developers working on it, but still there's a big lack of talent there. Everybody knows that. So we have built our team of 15 people now, technical team that very organically. We didn't hire anybody who knows Substrate. We didn't hire anybody who knows Rust. We hired one guy who knew Rust. That's it. And so what we want to do now is basically start teaching. So all kinds of development resources. We still haven't decided exactly, but there are two types. There's core developers, which is something that's being taught by the Substrate Academy, which Kala has initiated, and forgot the name of the organization that's now handling it, but they have that already. But then you have all the other people, back-end developers, front-end developers, developers who don't really develop core, but they need to know some basic things about Substrate that so that they use it effectively, and we'll probably focus on those first because they are a bigger part of the development pool, which we will use for us to scale and to help others to scale. That's basically it.
And Alexander, just for the community that is getting acquainted with Substrate and Polkadot and Dot, can you explain really briefly what a pallet is versus the NFT chain, and how do these interact?
Pallet is part of the NFT chain, the core part. Pallets are modules that go into the blockchain and basically define its functionality. You have balances pallet that manages the balance of tokens on addresses, on accounts, and you have all kinds of pallets that are and those pallets are beautiful in Substrate because you can take them from one chain and put them into other chain and they'll work. That's a beautiful part. And then NFT chain is a whole blockchain with a network and so on, with in our case hopefully a parachain to Polkadot that takes advantage of that palette functionality and all the other things that we build around it.
100%, and all this is possible with the Substrate framework, so I definitely recommend you guys, if you're down there interested to learning how to build these parachains or work with some of these palettes, definitely join Substrate Academy.
So So I was actually wondering if we could go maybe into some of the features, like specifically emotes. And I guess a way to tie this in is the emotes palette is something that the Remark team is working on. That any of the parachains are going to be able to integrate into their blockchain. You'll be able to emote pretty much any of those NFTs. And actually, as a special surprise for any egg holders, I'm currently sending out hatch emojis to all of the eggs. So if you have under three hatch emojis on your egg, essentially if you previously could not hatch your egg in about maybe 15 minutes time, everybody on the network should be able to, I'm hoping, I actually don't know how long it's going to take, but soon everybody will be able to hatch their egg, no matter if as soon as they buy it. Maybe Bruno, do you want to go into some of that functionality for the eggs?
Yeah, sure. So what we did when we started Remark is we kind of launched this proof of concept and test in production thing called Canaria, where we were selling NFTs to see how well the selling functionality works. I also wanted to fund the team through this effort, so that if it worked out, we'd be funded. If it didn't, we do no harm to anybody. We just refund anything that went wrong, and that's it. It turned out to work well, and one gamification method that we put in there was on-chain emotes as part of the Remark specification. The magic of this is that you now have, as part of the NFT protocol itself, the rules for interpreting and rendering the reactions, like you would see on any social network with the thumbs up and the flaming hearts and whatever else exists there right now. With this, you can actually emote on any NFT in the Remark ecosystem. That means that any implementation, any UI, any client, any wallet that implements Remark will also automatically support the emotes. And so as a gamification method, we set a rule where when you're buying these NFT eggs for Canaria, which would hatch into these super rich NFTs, birds, in order to get them to hatch, you had to collect 3 little hatchling emotes on each egg you have, and also any other emote you slap on top of the egg would influence how the bird would look and what functionality it would have when it hatches. From child NFTs that it would actually own on birth, and these you can unequip and trade on the open market as individual NFTs, to just facial expressions, wing color, wing type, backgrounds, foregrounds. Everything about them is dynamically generated based on emotes and randomness, and dynamically composed from layers of SVGs. And our renderer dynamically shows you these birds as they change. So if a ton of platforms show my bird, and my bird has a Rambo bandana, and then I replace that with a, hard hat, that image is going to update on every single platform implementing my bird. And this is also kind of an interesting aspect there, where you have where these NFTs are not static images; they react to input from you, the owner. And so this turned out to be a really good way to spread the word about the project. But some people had problems gathering these 3 hatchling emotes per egg to be able to hatch that egg, actually. And this is because you can only send an emote once from your account. It acts as a switch. So if you send a thumbs up, then it's a thumbs up. If you send it again, then it's off. It removes the thumbs up. And so people had to get other people to emote on their eggs, which kind of didn't really work out as good as we expected it to be. And so Nick here jumped in with a heroic act, having scripted the adding of these hatchling emotes onto the eggs. This is in progress right now. Our system is being bombarded with hatchling emotes. Every egg that didn't have them now has them, or will have them very soon, and everybody's going to be able to hatch their eggs, which is brilliant, especially for the large egg holders who would have had their work cut out for them otherwise. It's a good thing that Kusama actually had a client upgrade recently, because when we ran an art contest not so long ago, like a week ago or so, we ran a contest where the top 40 most emoted eggs would actually get secondary art, commissioned art from artists to kind of draw special birds for them. This turned out to be so popular that we broke Kusama for 2 days. The number of emotes crossed, I think, 500,000 in the system. and just nuked everything. So this like what Nicholas is doing now is kind of like a test of the fix, but also a very, very good deed.
Sorry, can I just ask, do you need to use Kusama in order to apply to bid for Polkadot, or is it like, maybe you guys explained it already, but it's a test net for Polkadot, right?
Okay,
Kusama,
we can go after that and during the session.
You're breaking up, Alex.
But thanks for that. Okay, is this better, guys?
Yes, a little bit better, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No. Thanks, Bruno. And I did want to give a special shout out to Mark too for putting up the Kusama to get this done.
As well as Taylor for doing the bulk of the scripting.
Good team.
Yeah. About my question. So, how does it work exactly? I heard that you need to be on Kusama for a bit before you get to Polkadot.
So I just did want to just mention that this is something that's not directly relating to the NFTs. So I did want to keep the room more focused on that. But Kusama is a canary network of Polkadot. It's essentially a cheaper way for developers to implement their applications and be able to test them on a live network. It's not a test net. It's actually has real value.
Yeah, so what's the difference between the two then?
Yeah, but we can. We do Polkadot Kusama 101 rooms Monday nights. Feel free to join one of those. I do. We want to be respectful of the speakers' times. They're here to answer specific questions, and that's more of a general Polkadot 101, Kusama 101. There are a ton of resources online that can run you through the differences between Polkadot and Kusama and why they're each valuable in the ecosystem. But we do have general rooms every Monday night. You're free to join. That being said, I think it might be a good opportunity to kind of transition if you guys are okay with it. I think we got the bulk of the foundational questions out to both the Remark team and the Unique team. I think we can open it up now to some of the folks on stage that I know are very familiar with the NFT space to kind of ask you guys questions, because we get a couple DMs on questions and stuff. So who do we got first? I think Michelle, did you want to ask a question before we open it up to the rest of the audience?
Yeah, I do have a question about cross chains. Are you in terms of is there any way to validate NFTs yet? In terms of validating that there's no infringement across different platforms?
There's actually...
Not that I know. Maybe Bruno does.
There's actually a project focused specifically on that problem that's emerging right now in the Polkadot ecosystem.
That is to be, yes.
Yeah, so that's probably going to happen relatively soon. It uses a mixture of on-chain judging, like you would see in Kleros on Ethereum, and identity verification in a way, but it's not really fully fleshed out yet. So I don't really want to get too deep into it. Somebody is working on it, that's for sure. But how soon that's going to happen, and in what way,
I don't think that's actually even. I feel like that's pie in the sky. If someone wants to be nefarious, they're going to find a way to be nefarious, because anyone can deploy to the chain, right? So either if your chain is permissionless, someone can always deploy the same copy in some way, right?
It's not about preventing somebody from doing something. It's just about validating that the other person was first.
Yeah, but that's still, even in that scenario, I mean, you have, what do you need to validate? Which transaction went first, right? I mean, what more do you need if that's the case?
The creative ownership of that asset is what's being kind of disputed here. So, like, maybe you showed it to somebody minted it first. That doesn't make them the owner if people can attest that you were actually the creative, source.
Yeah, so Alan, I made, even with AR, people usually try to copy our art because it could be sold for thousands of dollars outside of NFT for some reason. And so, like, if I made a mermaid, this particular one, and Ali basically, mint it on another chain and copied it, we just want to make sure that the blockchains are timestamped and that we have a way to validate the timestamp. I know that it doesn't prevent fraud because fraudsters always come up with different things, but I think it's just really heading to a consistent theme ethos of blockchain where those things can be validated.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I guess all you need is a timestamp, which all these blockchains do well, right? I feel like beyond that, there's a lot of assumptions and trust that's being thrown around to be able to do anything further than that. That's my concern, right? That you can look at the timestamp, but then what if someone does like 98% or 95% of the same thing, right? Or you're always going to need nuance and always going to need like social consensus around these things. I don't think there's necessarily going to be some technical solution for it, is the point I'm making.
Yeah, I think with copying, I think it would be useful, but there's always like independent development where two people would have, similar ideas in different parts of the world. I think that's fine, but whenever there's a dispute, like if someone claimed that I'm copying them and I made it earlier, then I can say, hey, and they're at different chains, so that it cross-chain, it's usually kind of like an item where someone could mint something on OpenSea and then they can mint something on Hikanan or something, so that you can kind of check. There's a check-in system on that. That is kind of like a cool feature, even though it may or may not. But I think it could be helpful.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Dima, did you have a question? I know you're in Hong Kong and you need to drop off soon, but I want to give you a chance to ask any question you might have. We might have lost them.
Alex, thanks for responding. My questions are way too long. And I got to drop off right now. So, guys, it was an awesome discussion, and I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Dima. Ali, did you have another legal question you want to run by?
Sorry, but it's related somehow. I wasn't the one that brought up the fractionalized, but I'm curious how smart contracts are used in this sense. I'm coming to the conclusion that without a gas fee, would that also affect the type of smart contract and the length of the smart contract that you can attach to these NFTs? That's my question. Can you hear me?
I didn't fully catch that.
Yeah. So she's asking a bit in terms, I would say, like in Ethereum, smart contracts are deployed in ERC 721. How do NFTs work on Kusama and Polkadot? So maybe Bruno, you can kick things off by maybe elaborating on how RMRK works.
Yeah, sure. There are two ways in which RMRK works. Well, one way in which it works right now, and one way in which it's gonna work very soon. And that's the other way is going to be the unique way, so as part of the chain. So on Ethereum, when you have like ERC 1155, ERC 721, you have those rich spreadsheets that tell Ethereum what data it has, and that basically force it to see something that doesn't see in place of those spreadsheets. So you have a spreadsheet with a lot of columns. One column is owner, one column is this attribute, that attribute, and that's an NFT. In RMRK, we had to work around this problem because Kusama doesn't have smart contracts or any kind of logic we could implement into the runtime. And so we used the colored coins approach from Bitcoin, where we graffiti the blocks with some extra data, and there's a specification, a set of rules that tells the system how to interpret this data. It's exactly like in Ethereum, only this is not interpreted on chain, it is interpreted off chain, but the data is stored on chain, and so it's a less secure method of working, but it works. So it's inefficient and it's not as secure as with smart contracts, but it's good enough, it seems. On chains individually, when that happens, it's going to be the NFTs and all of their parts and all of their primitives are going to be part of layer 1 as much as a native token of a chain is part of its layer 1. So like a chain is completely aware of a token as its base unit, so Ether on Ethereum, Bitcoin on Bitcoin, unique token on unique. These tokens are very much a part of the chain, in that the chain understands that these are tokens. These are not spreadsheets that you cheat onto the chain. These are actual parts of the chain that it understands. And so with pallets, and pallets are basically these logic Legos that you just plug into your chain of choice and give it features. With pallets related to NFTs, you actually add NFT logic to the chain natively. It will become aware of these NFT fragments, NFT parts, as naturally as it is of its own native token. And basically this is why you don't need smart contracts. Now, if you want to smarten up your NFTs further and make them do things that you didn't originally envision they would have to do when you were building those pallets, those plug-and-play logic Legos, then you can also write smart contracts around these NFTs and make them do custom stuff. But at their core, they are very much a part of the chain, that is completely understood by the chain.
So if you wanted something a bit more expansive, you would have to build a smart contract around it. The logic, the capacity of that logic inherent in these nodes, or these pallets, doesn't seem like it would be enough to, for example, put why I ask this, I'm looking for a way, or interested in a way to be able to incorporate a lengthy legal contract in a form of a smart contract, right? But with gas fees, there's obviously other limitations. But it sounds like even with the capacity, the logic capacity in these pallets, would it be enough to actually execute something as complex? Am I right?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on how complex your logic is and what you want to happen based on that smart contract's execution, based on that contract's conditions. In most cases, yes, you would need to do this with smart contracts. The primitive of the contract can't be an NFT, and so that's natively understood by the chain. But what it does, if it does something truly custom and complex, then yes, it probably wouldn't be supported by the native runtime stuff.
Yeah, in a sense, when you look at smart contracts from Ethereum, the contract themselves, stores both the state, the metadata, and the business logic, right? What happens with it. Now, what Bruno's mentioning, I would say, is that, it focuses really particularly on the metadata, what the NFT represents. Now, if you wanted to make it, like Bruno said, smarter, then you could add, a smart contract to be able to manipulate that sort of data, right? So this is really what Polkadot and Kusama and the substrate framework kind of allow developers to do, to kind of grab these modules and put together a parachain that fits their needs. So I think, Ali, if you wanted to do something like what you said, what you would do is essentially put together perhaps a parachain, or find a parachain that has a smart contract capabilities or features implemented, so that you can actually represent those legal contracts.
There's actually a better way. Okay, if the idea is good enough, if it's generic enough, if there is a demand enough for that, what you can do is implement that on a pallet level and add to existing blockchains. That's what we at Unique kind of are doing and plan to do and will continue to do. Basically, looking for the popular or features that NFTs require and making them natively supported. It is more expensive, more cumbersome than just doing a smart contract. So if you're doing it for one application, then you can do it on a smart contract level. But if it's something that hundreds of applications may use, then it's worthwhile making it a pallet and adding it to the blockchain. That's what's going to happen with auctions, for example. Another team is working on that. When they finish it, we'll just add it to Unique and kind of and connect it to applications that need it, like a marketplace.
So palette it sounds more like almost like a library that everyone can reuse, right? And is accessible to the entire network, the broader
exactly.
system.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, so like in Polkadot,
palettes that do different things. So and you can always make a new one or add to the existing one, whatever. That's a technical decision on the spot.
Yeah, like so.
I'm going and talk about like runtimes and the palettes themselves. Like essentially, in this ecosystem, you bring together all these modules, right, to form a parachain.
Okay, so I'm coming at it from a developer's perspective. It's almost like when you're importing a library, right? But you're just sort of importing this library off the blockchain in a way, in that ecosystem, right? And then you can probably extend it.
Yeah, not off the blockchain. You import this into your source code, and then you have to compile it with that library built in. And this only gives your chain that functionality. That doesn't mean you're sharing the functionality with all of the others. All of the other chains out there. So it's just a piece of code that you put into your project, you compile it, and then your chain has the functionality. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so do we want to hand it over to Yoon? Do you have any comments or questions? I know I invited you up, but just seeing if you want to chime in. Otherwise, I guess we can hand it over to Andrew. Andrew, how you doing?
To me? Hello?
Yep.
Hi, good. How are you guys? I guess my question was twofold. The first was, I think that Alexander was talking earlier about the porting of the CryptoPunks marketplace, but then when he got to when it was going to be up, it went into like the white label service. I don't think I heard like the actual date that the marketplace is going to be up. I'm just asking because everyone's kind of doing OTC transactions right now and that with those NFTs. And then the second question is kind of like if I had like one of these large generative projects kind of ready to go, and I'm about to like do the work to start putting it on Ethereum, but I like everything you've said about Polkadot, but I worry a little bit about the adaptation and how easy it is for people to purchase Polkadot and to use it and the wallet. I find the learning curve's a little bit steep at the moment. Is there like plans or ways that that's going to be kind of more streamlined coming up?
All right, thanks. You got a cool point there. So in terms of the marketplace, it's now in debugging phase. So I'm hoping. Don't take my word for it. We are taking a parity position here. Never promises any deadlines and things like that. But if all's okay, by the end of next week, maybe beginning of the following, it should be live. And then, but that, that's if Charo here doesn't kind of put an embargo on that until we kind of build the marketing around that or whatever. And then, so it should be in a couple of weeks. The white label. Yeah.
Oh no, I thought you were done. Sorry, Alexander. Go ahead. I'll go ahead.
That was the second part of the question was the onboarding thing. So the idea here is, well, first of all, the experience you had was at the very beginning. It kind of keeps changing, keeps adopting, and keeps kind of adding to the stuff. So first of all, if you have a project you want to put on, you can put it on your own marketplace, and do it that way, or you can put it on ours if you don't want to deal with that. So that's option number one you have. And if you want to do it on your own, where you make your commissions on primary, secondary sales, or you control the UI and all those things, that's the kind of the best way to go. That's why we're giving it away. In terms of kind of ease of use features coming up, we are heavily working on that. So first thing that's going to happen with this release is the sponsorship of all transactions, so that buy and sell, you don't need unique tokens at all, not even from the faucet, not from the exchange. You just don't need them. And then we are working on integrating a fiat on-ramp, which will which is the first step in mass adoption roadmap, where we need to get then all the other components to basically hide the stuff beyond, hide the blockchain piece beyond it completely. If you have noticed, for Cellobricks, we have actually released a web wallet, which doesn't require you to have Polka.js wallet, and it just works. It works on a mobile as well. So that was one step we actually very quietly did already, and we continue to improve it. So between now and 3 months from now, you're going to see a lot of work in that direction.
The Polka.js wallet is, to put it nicely, terrible. I am so surprised that this is still the standard for Polkadot.
Actually,
I've tried math. It's also, it works, but we don't, Tron has gotten it, Cardano has gotten it, Cosmos has gotten it with Kepler. They all have these simple, clean, even Tezos with Temple. Where's the Polkadot version? If I don't know it, please tell me.
So, Alan, they have Fearless Wallet is probably the best wallet to use for Kusama and Polkadot. It allows you to do staking and whatnot it's all on your phone. Although it just doesn't work for the NFTs right now. So it's something that's being worked on. They have an active projects that are funded by the Kusama Treasury to kind of fix this. So it's being worked on. You generally actually don't have to use the Polka.js, except in some of the newer the newer projects that are coming out until they actually deliver their maybe version of a wallet like Alexander. They have an on-chain web view of it, so that which is compatible with mobile. But there's also other projects other wallets that are being worked on. So it'll come in time.
So do you see this space, the Polkadot ecosystem, being less of a model of where you have sort of, obviously there was going to be multiple, all these chains have multiple wallets, but it's not like you have some foundation that's putting out or even supporting via grants a main wallet or anything like that, or is this going to be more application specific, like what Alexander's working on? They've obviously they probably have a much better, cleaner, simpler wallet that's going to abstract away a lot of things. Do you think that's going to be it? Because say they have this wallet, well, is this wallet's probably going to be more targeted for their end user, not in a broader sense. When I'm not saying that's good or bad, but there's certainly trade-offs, right, in that scenario.
There's a common misconception about the Polkadot wallet that it's what people should be using. It's not. There are two parts to interacting with the Polkadot ecosystem. One is the Polkadot.js extension, which people often confusingly compare to MetaMask, when it's nothing like that. So MetaMask is trying to be everything at once and kind of failing at everything. But it's what people have gotten used to, and the first mover advantage is truly enormous there. With Polkadot.js extension, you only store your keys behind a password. That's it. It doesn't do anything else other than store your keys and potentially protect you from phishing links. That's it. The actual application-specific interactions that you can do are up to the dApps. They have been delegated to the dApp level so that the individual chains and individual dApp developers are actually responsible for the good UX, and so that people can actually interact with their ecosystem. And this is, in my opinion, how it should be, because you end up with really specific, really well-optimized, granular user experiences for one specific thing or feature. So if you really want to stake in a very easy and understandable way, you just go to yieldscan.app and you use their app for really easy staking and for recognition of reputable or risky validators and so on. And you don't do anything else there. You can't send money there. You can't vote on democracy. You can't do anything there. Then if you want to find out about the treasury, you go to .treasury.com. I think it's .com or .io, I don't know. And then you explore the treasury there, and you do nothing else. You don't nominate yourself for council, you don't set an identity, you don't do anything like that. If you want to do NFTs, you go to Singular. On Singular, you will be able to see the space of your NFTs. You'll see your profile, you'll see the NFTs you own, you created, you've put for sale. You will be able to change your identity because your identity can be used to kind of custom build your own white label marketplace, little marketplace corner. But that's it. You will not be able to send KSM on Singular to other people. You will be able to send NFTs, but not KSM. So it's delegated to the dApps that want to offer a use case, and these dApps just hook into the extension to read your key and use it to sign that transaction that they need. The fact is that we do have Polkadot.js apps UI, which is like kitchen sink included thing that offers literally every single feature that exists on Polkadot. This is not a healthy thing to get used to. For one, it's extremely complicated. It is very, very slow to use in certain areas, and it has a buzz factor of 1. So it is maintained by one person right now. It is funded by Parity, but it's not good to rely on this because it's not going to get better in terms of UX. This is not the priority there. The priority is to have UI level access to every single Polkadot feature. But for very specific stuff that you want to interact with simply and effectively, you will wait for dApp specific implementations. And there are plenty of grants, both from the foundation and from the chain treasuries, Kusama and Polkadot, that will gladly fund any exploration in that direction.
Thank you. That helped. I mean, that was what I was assuming was happening, and you verified a lot of it. But I definitely think
there's probably a couple of dozen wallets that were funded already by the foundation and Kusama Treasury at least. So it's the question of them getting traction, getting real usage, and so.
Hey, Alan, I don't know if you're in our Telegram, but I just posted a link. There's a GitHub Parity substrate GitHub that lists like all of the different libraries and tool chains and stuff available. Basically, like Parity, made like Ether.js for substrate. So there's like JavaScript libraries that are abstracting, those RPC communications, and so like all of that stuff's coming for sure.
That's good to know. My only concern, and this is not, I feel like it's just a trade-off with dApp specific wallets versus one wallet which sort of covers, say, 90% of everything. Because if people have to have a whole bunch of different wallets, I look at like a phone, so it's almost like you'll need a different icon for every dApp versus like going to the browser like you would say on a Trust wallet now and just being connected, and every site you go to is the same wallet. Even though that wallet there's a small chance it may not fully be supported on that dApp. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out long term. I'm not saying one's like right or wrong. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how, like from a user experience perspective, which one sort of people favor.
Well, maybe, Alan, you have just generated a very good business idea, a super app for Polkadot. Thanks. That's,
yeah, perhaps.
Someone should take notice.
Okay. Was there anybody else in the crowd that had some questions? I believe. Who are we up to?
I do have a question.
Who was that?
I think Jules is next.
Jules, are you there, Jules?
Yeah, I'm here, but actually my question had more to do with like Kusama, and I can just ask that in the Polka Kusama rooms later. So you just skip. But thank you.
Okay. So next we have Nicholas. Nicholas, did you have a question?
Yes. Good afternoon. I've been listening to everyone talking, and specifically Bruno and Alexander. And actually, I raised my hand when Alexander mentioned something about like the money transfer because I'm currently like involved in I'm developing something like that right now, and I had to do kind of like a bridge between Stellar and Ethereum, developing on the Binance Smart Chain. So I was wondering if there was any kind of like DeFi palette that you guys are working on right now, because from what I understand, palette is the way to go on your chain. And also I have some question about the security on the chain. Thank you.
Sorry, but I didn't really understand the question enough to answer it. Can you a little bit specify what you're looking for in terms of bridges?
Oh no, I'm asking if you guys have like a DeFi pilot, because right now I'm doing a project where basically to do the on-ramp, off-ramp, I have to use like Stellar, and then I'm doing like a peer-to-peer credit reporting solution, and there's some other stuff like money transfer that's involved in it also. That's for like 12 world countries, and I had to go basically and use 2 different solutions in order to make something like that happen. And from listening to you, I was wondering if there's any kind of like maybe DeFi palette that already exists on your platform, which I might be able to use, or would I have to build my own palette? That was the question. Thank you.
You mean DeFi or?
Yes, DeFi, decentralized finance.
Oh, okay. So we're not doing DeFi. That's, there's a number of other projects in the ecosystem who are handling that. Various parts of the DeFi ecosystem. There's Akala, there's Bitfrost, I guess, and a number of others. We don't deal with that. We deal with NFT use cases. So can't help you much there.
All right, thank you very much. No, it's because you mentioned the palettes earlier, and from my understanding, maybe I got the palettes what they are wrong, but from my understanding, it's something that you can implement and basically get it to work to do whatever. Let's say that you're going to do something that's more than the smart contract could handle, that you would basically build and the work from there and allow the.
So palettes are part of the substrate, which is the code base that Polkadot and Kusama are built on. Anybody can go. I would say check out substrate.dev is the website, and it'll give you a real good breakdown of how palettes work, and it'll teach you how to implement them in your project.
All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Thank you, everybody.
Jesse, next question. Are you there?
Yeah, you can skip me. Sorry, I'm unavailable now.
I got a question.
Almost to you, Crypto.
Okay.
Don Love. They're just trying to go in order. So.
Okay.
Hey there. I was reading a Medium article on RMRK recently, and it was really interesting. And you were speaking about native fractionalization of NFTs, voting on its actions, and also native level setting of buys, so that it could be cross-platform, so that it's not just on a particular marketplace, but that it's cross-marketplace. Is that something that's on the roadmap, or is that something that's already and requires the smart contract implementation? Or is that something that you've managed to achieve using the palettes so far?
It is on the roadmap. It's not achieved yet. The plan was so the example is abstracting multi-chain complexity through the RMRK token, which basically is like you have a really cool item on BitCountry, which is one of our partner chains, but BitCountry has total garbage marketplaces, and you can't really use them. You don't like them. But then Unique Network has the best marketplace in the world, and nobody can make something that rivals them, and you really want to sell your BitCountry item there. Because both of these chains are going to have the RMRK palettes, seamless teleportation of non-fungibles across these chains is very much possible, without wrapping, without bridges, without any complexities. And so what you get as a user in the front end, you get you're looking at Singular, and you can see your BitCountry item there. and you click on the item and you say sell, and that's it. You see it being put up for sale. Behind the scenes, what we're going to do is we're going to change a little fraction of RMRK tokens for BitCountry tokens, so you can interact with the NFT on the BitCountry chain. We will then teleport it to Unique. We will then switch the WebSocket endpoint to another node to connect to Unique. Then on Unique, we will be moving the item as it's teleported in over to their marketplace and listing it there. You as the user will be completely oblivious to all of this. You will not be aware of any chain switching, of even the fact that you're using different chains. You will just know that there's an awesome marketplace that exists and you have an awesome item and you want to sell it. And so this is kind of what we're doing here. This becomes possible with the palettes, which we do not have yet, and which we are going to be developing right after this whole Canaria chaos finishes. But it's not actually complex. So with this cross-chain messaging logic that's coming up, being able to send a message to the same version of the palette in another chain is trivial. It would be problematic if we had to wrap the token, if like Unique was using their own version of NFTs that are completely detached from RMRK, and then BitCountry was doing the same thing that's completely detached. Then in order to use RMRK in any way, you would have to actually wrap the NFT on one place, then wrap it into another thing on another place, and so on. And you get this fragmentation that we see on Ethereum. But by all of them using these palettes that we're going to build and that we're going to optimize for these specific use cases, we will be able to just teleport stuff, like to and fro, and we'll abstract away all of this multi-chain complexity for people, so that they don't have to worry about it. It doesn't require smart contracts, but it does require palettes.
Awesome, thanks, Bruno. Yeah, I'm excited and watching with anticipation. Good luck.
Thanks for the question, Don. Crypto, you're up next.
Hey guys, pretty much answered a lot of the questions for the BitCountry. I was gonna ask, so could we see Cello Bricks and Substerpunks in the BitCountry metaverse at some point?
Honest answer from me is I don't know. I really hope so, and it shouldn't be too hard.
All right. Thank you.
That's basically what we are all aiming for. It's just that I honestly, me and my team hadn't had the time to dig into what BitCountry is doing and so on. So I can't give you a straight answer. But we are all building on the same technology, and I assume that wouldn't be too hard. And that's the goal, basically, to kind of have intertwined metaverses and kind of have them walk around, do whatever they want.
Yeah, I can't wait till I can equip my Cello Brick to my Canaria bird and then like let it move around like a metaverse or something like that. I know that's a lot of people are excited for that type of functionality. So I'm sure a lot of people probably had that question. So thank you for that, Crypto. So I guess next we have Kat. Kat, do you have a question for us?
No, somebody brought me up, but thanks for the really, really thorough presentation. It was great and easy to understand. I'll let you know if anything comes up. The only thing that surprised me was that you thought that the Substerpunks would not have value. I'm surprised because everything has worked out so well in the ecosystem that I guess that should have been a no-brainer, but that's kind of a cool story.
Awesome. So I guess I do also want to be wary of everyone's time. So does everybody on stage have more time, or is do you have to go before I open it up to more questions?
I'm good.
Okay. So I guess I know other people probably do have some questions. So is there anyone else who anybody could raise their hands, or anybody else on stage that has some questions to ask?
Looks like we got Toma up here. You can go, Victoria. Go first.
Yeah. So I just kind of walked into the room, and I have not heard of cross-chain NFTs, and you've probably already answered that, but seeing as it just walked in, I'd like to learn more about that, which blockchains are allowing this functionality. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think maybe we can cover that on an after party room, perhaps, to talk more about Polkadot and Kusama, guys.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We could do it.
Yeah, so, but in short, Victoria, so Polkadot and Kusama essentially have a framework that allows you to kind of launch your own type of blockchain called the parachain. So in particular, today's room is about some parachains that are focused on NFTs. So Unique is actually building one of them, and Bruno has built a standard for NFTs on Kusama/Polkadot.
Victoria, and actually I see a lot of artists in the room. Maybe somebody has kind of art-specific questions or want to ask about features or any possibilities. So artists out there, any questions from your side? Raise your hand up.
I know there's a question a lot of people are asking. The first one would be like, when are auctions going to be enabled?
They are. I think Akala wins the first one tomorrow or day after, something like that.
Oh no! So I think my question was actually like auctions for NFTs, because like right now existing, you can only kind of put them up for sale on a marketplace.
Okay. That's being handled by one of the teams in the ecosystem. I honestly haven't had time to check up on their progress, so I can't give you the timelines. But that I hope that when we go live, that thing will be available. So sometimes this fall. It's not going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, actually, our scheduling functionality will allow English auction to be automated. So that's something.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. This is from our end. Other actions.
Right. We're in the same boat. We cannot add auctions before we have on-chain logic that comes either in the form of smart contracts or pallets. And so the only auction type we can do right now is Dutch auctions, which will automatically decrease the price until an item is sold, which is arguably less interesting than candle auctions or just regular auctions. So yeah, I'm also looking forward to somebody else tackling that problem.
Could you have a continuous Dutch auction like EOS did for their ICO for 1 year?
Yeah, sure.
My question is actually, how do you prevent like double spending an NFT if you're going cross-chain? I mint NFT on Counterparty, then I mint it on Ethereum, bridge that over to a BSC, and then bridge that same to Polkadot. How do you prevent that?
You lock it on the source so that it gets unlocked only if you return the one that you sent it to. That's that's as far as my technical understanding goes. So basically in Ethereum you send it to a smart contract that locks it. You cannot do anything unless until you send back the original one and burnt basically, or locked in the same way. It's the logic of those cross-chain bridges we're talking about here.
Do you guys see a future with more kind of NFT offerings for substrate punk holders? I've had some terrible luck and I've actually missed out on all of it so far. So I was wondering if you guys had more plans coming up.
Well, so for substrate punks, I'm hoping that something starts happening with them. We were always kind of trying to be upfront with them being first and foremost the symbol of kind of being the first, and then as the time goes by, we're looking for actually teams that can do something interesting and nice. So we're waiting for not only good ideas but also good implementations of that. That's basically our current view. We will be doing a lot more of that once we go live, once we have behind all the hurdles that are associated with it. So once we have that, we are talking to a number of teams, and I'm pretty sure that as we start digging deeper into gaming space, we'll start getting a lot of teams that can do a lot of stuff. So once we find a good fit, we'll
if metadata is amended, if metadata changes, does that create issues for the parachain? Is there any additional complexity?
It doesn't. Short answer.
Awesome. So, who else? Next, we had Anfi. Did you ask a question, Anfi?
Hi, Nerfi. So no, I actually didn't ask the question. So thanks for getting to me. I think it also probably relates to some of the artists in the room, and like Victoria has touched on it like briefly. So as a starting point, trying to understand the cross-chain like NFTs, is there a resource you'd recommend to just like start from just like ground one to just be able to understand all that technicality?
Sure. If you join our Polka Haus Telegram room, because it's kind of hard to send like text here, but if you just go into Telegram and type in Polka Haus, we'll post like any related like blog posts or text there where you can look up the current exactly what we're talking about within within RMRK and Unique.
Thanks a lot. And RMRK and Unique, what's that?
So, do you guys want to take that, or do you want me to give a little? Essentially,
you do it now.
Okay. So essentially, Unique RMRK. We'll start with RMRK is a NFT protocol that is going to enable cross-chain NFTs, and essentially, right now it exists on Kusama, and Unique is a parachain that's going to be on Polkadot and Kusama. So the first cross-chain NFTs will be within Polkadot. Within RMRK, essentially transferring from Kusama to Unique. I probably just kind of butchered that, but hope that answered the question.
Oh, that's amazing. So essentially, they'll be able to move around the blockchain, which is not currently possible right now.
Exactly.
That's wild. Okay, thanks a lot, Nicholas.
All right. Were there any other artists or anything that wanted to come up and ask some questions about maybe the functionality of NFTs or any questions?
I have a question for Bruno. Bruno, thank you for taking time here, and Alexander, both of you guys, thanks for spending so much time with us. My question is about emote in the emote standard. On Singular, I've noticed similarities between the emotes with like an Apple iPhone emote, and I know that there are different emote standards, different apps that offer different kinds of emotes. So I'm wondering about the emote standard on Singular and cross-chain NFTs in general. What instigated the decision for the emotes being used, and is that set in stone? Can people make their own emotes and emote NFTs? How does that all work?
Yeah, behind the scenes, the emotes are just Unicodes, and so you can actually send any Unicode using this emote standard. It will accept anything. What we use in Singular is just the most popular set that was easiest to integrate, and it has the most options. I think it actually defaults to your system emoji, so I might be wrong there. And it's not something that we kind of like weighed and decided on, like these emotes are the ones we want. It was just the most practical solution, the most widely supported one, and yeah, it had the most support for the most emotes, and we wanted a really diverse set of emotes.
Yeah, so on Apple we use native, but Windows basically has a bit limited setup. For example, flags are not supported, so we're using custom font. So they are basically cross-compatible between different operating systems and look quite nice.
Very cool, thank you.
So I guess we'll be able to send those NFTs to pretty much any the emotes to pretty much any NFT. So I can, in theory, like bomb any NFT that's on Singular, for example, right? And
not just on Singular, but any other UI that implements the RMRK standard, you can emote on it through Singular. You will be able to see it from Singular and emote on it. you will, with the emote palettes that we're building, you will be able to also emote on accounts and smart contracts as well as any other entity that is reasonably unique on a chain, like posts in Subsocial or anything else that you can think of. So the emote is just a part of the spec. It can target any entity on chain. In this case, it is specifically targeting NFTs, but since it's part of the spec, you will be able to, yes, emote any NFT anywhere, though it is up to the implementer of the UI to actually, show your emotes. And maybe some UIs will limit emote sets to only positive things and will hide poop emojis and will only show hearts and so on. So it's up to them. But the spec is there to help them interpret and render these things as they wish.
So Bruno, does this mean after Moonriver and Moonbeam get going on, we'll be able to emote NFTs and smart contracts on Ethereum through Singular?
Yes, once we have the the Solidity version of RMRK logic, but that's not due to happen for a very long time probably. We will be looking for a team to pay to do this for us. If there's going to be an interested team to build this sort of bridge, we could build you can actually move RMRK NFTs onto Ethereum already, but you have to dump them down pretty bad. You have to basically wrap them in a static container, export a static version of them, remove all of their advanced functionality, and then you get what essentially Ethereum NFTs are, like static images. And then you can trade that on OpenSea and do whatever you want with it. But there's still no emotes and so on. So once we do get that going, it should be possible. But I don't think it's going to be economically feasible, because again, this is going to have to be done on the smart contract level, and issuing hundreds of thousands of emotes on the smart contract level would be extremely expensive and slow. So I don't know about that.
Interesting. So theoretically, if I wanted to take my canary after it hatches and get it over to OpenSea and make it kind of like a dump canary and auction it off on OpenSea, that's a possibility. It just wouldn't carry all of the traits that it would have on Singular.
It would carry all the traits, but they would be static. You would be unable to unequip them or modify them. You would be unable to unequip to alter the bird's appearance or its functionality. You would be unable to remove or add child NFTs to this bird. You would be unable to do anything that you can do, that you'll be able to do with RMRK 2 with the bird. But yes, you would be able to sell it there, and then somebody else can basically cash it out into a RMRK 2 compatible system. So if by then we are on Unique and you actually went into OpenSea through Unique's bridge, then all someone has to do when they buy it off you from OpenSea is unlock it on that part, and they get the full bird, full functionality on Unique, and they can do with it what they want in the Substrate and Kusama ecosystem.
So it's like lithifying the bird, like turning it into a gargoyle, putting Medusas.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Hey guys, and I think I want to be mindful of the speaker's time. We've been on for nearly 2 hours, which is a little over what we typically do. So I really want to thank the teams at RMRK and Unique. I know we turned off the hand raising. We're about to wrap up this room. Do any of the mods or any of the people on stage have anything else they want to ask these speakers before we let them go back to sleep for them, because they're in Europe?
May I ask, can you hear me? Hello?
We can barely hear you, man.
I want to ask about the token. What utility do you think is best for it? The governance is a tricky thing, I don't think lots of people hold the token for governance.
For RMRK or Unique?
For RMRK, yeah.
So there's a ton of utilities that we've already applied to the token, which I don't want to spend people's time and go into detail about. It goes way beyond governance, but I have a pretty detailed post about the token utility that I'm going to share in the Polka Haus Telegram. So please check that out, and I'll be happy to answer any questions in DM you have about it.
Thanks for your question, Mike. I think we'll wrap up there, guys. I want to thank both teams at Unique and Remark for coming on here. This was absolutely fascinating. It's always very interesting to hear about the new things getting built, not only on the blockchain space, but in the Polkadot ecosystem. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time and coming on here and speaking to us about this.
Thank you, Alex, and thanks everybody. This was very exciting, and glad to feel the excitement of everybody in the ecosystem. That always inspires us.
Yep, our pleasure.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget to follow Polka Haus. You see the little green house on the top left. Just follow us, and don't forget to follow the moderators and all the speakers. You can check out the Twitters and their bios, and I think almost everyone's DMs are open. So just hop in there and shoot them a message.
Yeah, guys, and we are working on synchronicity across different social media platforms, so be on the lookout for that. We'll be broadcasting the Polka Haus rooms on different platforms, but we do really like Clubhouse because it does allow for this personal interaction with these great speakers that come on to talk to you guys. I think it provides a unique opportunity, but we will be expanding to other social networks as well in the near future here, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, with that, again, I want to thank the speakers, the teams that came on. Thank you for coming on. You know, you guys can come on Polka Haus whenever you like. Whenever you guys are building anything new that you want to share with the community, please let us know. We're happy to run these rooms for you. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and close out the room. Thank you to all the mods for coming on here.
Cheers.
Thank you to everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks all. Bye.
Do we want to do an after party room?
It's up to you, Nicholas.
Yes,
got
please do
partied out. It's all you.
I'll do the after party room.
Yeah, so for those in the room, we'll be doing an after party room. Nicholas will start it. We typically have rules to get you guys on stage. I think the one for this one will be pretty obvious. So yeah, Nicholas, I'll let you decide the rule, but go ahead and set up the room, and we'll be there. We'll be in there shortly.
Get your RMRK NFTs or singular NFTs, or your unique NFTs ready to go. That's all I'm saying. But I'll definitely set.
All right, guys. Thanks.
After party.
All right, I usually give this a couple of minutes for anyone that wants to follow any of the speakers or any of the other people down below in the audience. Give everyone you want to follow, and I'll be ending this room in about 30 seconds here. Thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Yeah, Bruno, Yoon from TRGC Capital wants to reach out, so he'll probably DM you. Or I'll set up a group chat, Bruno.
Thank you. How do I get to the after party room?
We'll shoot you an invite. Yeah, and it should
Okay.
pop up in your notifications. It'll be run under Polka Haus, so you should be able to see it in your hallway.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And then Bruno's saying I got a couple DMs from people that want to connect. I'll link you.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Hello.
Just getting some people up, sending out the invites. I think I have to unlock the room still.
I kind of had an interesting thought about this fractional NFT thing, but I think it could be just done with regular NFTs.
What is your thought?
I was kind of thinking, like, if you had a way for, like, kind of just like an NFT puzzle, so everybody gets kind of like a piece of the puzzle with the, like, you have one general NFT as is the puzzle itself completed, and then the fractional NFTs would be like pieces of the puzzle that you could like all kind of.
So the only thing that but the fractionalized NFTs are fungible though. So how would you like a puzzle piece?
Yeah, that's why I kind of was like, oh wait, I guess it's a different concept.
It's the concept of nested NFTs that we have. So you mint the parts as child NFTs into the parent. That's an empty puzzle that you need to put together.
There we go. It's actually possible. It's just in a different way than you thought.
Yeah. And so you define in the parent NFT, you define slots into which individual parts can go, and that's it.
So you can have just like one, say, master NFT piece, and then So how many slots can you like put as many slots as you want?
Yep, it's up to you. You define the base of the NFT. You set the parts. There are fixed parts and there are slot parts. And the slot parts you can equip child NFTs into, and the fixed parts are used just for rendering when you're compositing a multi-layered NFT like the canary birds. So in order to get an item to be held by a canary bird, it has to have like a back part of the wing and the front part of the wing, and there's a slot in between. So you define all of this in the base of the NFT itself. So the base will say this bird has a part that's called the back wing, and that's at Z index 0, and then it has a slot, and that's at Z index 1, and then it has a front wing that's Z index 2. And so now the sandwich basically results in you, whatever you put into that slot will end up being held by the bird. And this is how you actually assemble any nested NFT that affects the rendering of the parent.
But then where would the fungibility come into play there?
No, this has nothing to do with the fungibility. So This is completely unrelated.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I don't know, you start selling virtual NFT puzzles, be kind of cool.
What up, y'all?
You should put that in as an idea, my man, on the Canary Idea Contest.
Yeah, that's over and out. I have a tome to read.
Yeah, I imagine. There's people who sent like 5 of them, 6 of them.
5 or 6 is not a problem. The problem is when it's 20 pages with code.
Oh, with code! Wow. So I guess my simple like suggestion is probably not even going to make the cut. Then.
We'll see. Substance over, over one.
Who's in charge of the Subster Souls?
I don't know. They have an on-chain. They have a wallet. They have a wallet on-chain.
Do they?
Yeah. If you go back, you can see who minted it. If you go into the singular.rmrk.app, and then you go to like the actual NFT itself, and then it'll give you the history of like how much it was listed for, who bought it, who transferred it. The first person is who minted.
Because they say whatever out of 50, but I don't see all 50 yet.
I mean, he does. Yeah, you don't have to actually mint them all at the same time. There could just be a max of 50 in the collection.
Yeah, I get that. I want to hound on him to get more out.
Yeah, he's been that guy's like minted a bunch of stuff, and he's kind of slowed down. I realized that like he'll mint new stuff when you like when his other stuff gets bought. Which the only thing is like now it's falling back in like the actual gallery itself. So unless he mints new stuff, like new people won't necessarily see it. Which is why it was like I think it was selling before, but now it's like it's kind of not in the front anymore.
Hey guys.
Hey Edward, your signal's not the greatest. If you're on Wi-Fi, maybe try turning off your Wi-Fi or getting closer to the router, or your Bluetooth is low, maybe low battery. No, not yet.
The 90s, they had these comic book cards. They had it.
Sorry, Edward. We're not getting you there. Oh, so I guess I'll just take this really quick. Now that we have a bunch of people on the stage, I would like everybody here to find their favorite RMRK or unique NFT and make that your PTR or make that your photo. So in order to be on the stage, we're gonna start requiring that you have to be an RMRK or an NFT from Unique. So yeah, everybody has to change their picture to that. We have my man Taylor, myself.
I'm going out to find my cello. I need to go.
Yes, the cellos. Chris has his I know Chris has a singular NFT as well.
And Bruno is RMRK, so he can just be himself.
I'll ask a quick question, guys.
Hold on.
Sure, Nicholas.
No, not a
Oh.
The Avatar, Nick.
Sorry, yeah, must be Avatar first. Good cop, bad cop. Good cop, bad cop. Alex.
Okay.
Wow, so people showing up. You can go to singular .rmrk.app to actually find a NFT, and you can make that your picture. You could probably look at it on your phone as well.
Chris, while we have you here, small group, but want to share any of your tea? I don't think we had you in the other room. I was out on a work call for a little bit, but what are you seeing?
He's probably looking for an NFT, Alex.
He might be looking for his middle finger emoji. Middle finger NFC. Ronald's here. Ronald's got his potato.
Did my image change for you?
Yes, it did. Oh, you have the spunk bit with the dog.
I have me.
That's you.
He is the spunk bit.
Yeah. I never put two and two together.
The dog gives it away.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's awesome. I went and found my cello. It's a little weird looking guy, but that's the one I got.
Oh, your cello has almost the same shirt as my spunk bit.
That's the unique logo, no?
Yeah, that's a unique logo.
It is. That it is. I didn't even realize I had the one with the unique logo until today. I just I was looking at the logo. I was like, oh, wait, my spunk bit has that. It was a nice surprise.
Now you should see me as the samurai.
Yes. That's from the curated selection. That's a very nice samurai.
Yeah. If you have more artists that you know, please send them our way. We really need to kind of up the game of Singular.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get people, man. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Bruno, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go.
Do you add a way for maybe the artist? I mean, for somebody to validate that, the art and to authenticate the art in addition to whoever. Because let's say that I have a piece of art, right, and I need somebody to actually authenticate it and say, okay, this is a real piece of art. This is the original.
Yeah, there's a chain. There's a project called Crystal Chain that's going to be doing that.
Welcome, Martin. You're gonna need to wear an NFT from Singular.
Oh, okay. I'll change that.
Yup. we're requiring that everybody on stage should be wearing a singular or a unique NFT.
But I think my T-shirt is pretty damn cool. Don't you think it's polka dot?
Man, get out of here with that. Go get your NFT.
Yeah, I'll switch it definitely.
So Martin's JavaScript app is the one that's actually running the emote bomb right now. It's just like a little bit edited.
Hey Bruno, do you want to go do a room?
Do what?
Your connection today is dead loud.
I think he wants to take you on tour.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't on Wi-Fi. Yeah, I was just saying maybe we can go to one or two of the NFT rooms here on Clubhouse that have a lot of the artists in them, and maybe get them to go over to Singular.
Yeah, like NFTS tips or something like that.
Yeah, and NFT Tips has a large community, and they run rooms like 24 hours a day with just artists in them, so we can ask them to host a room for you.
That'd be cool. I got 2 invites during that Clubhouse for NFT Tips, but like my brain is at -5%. So.
Oh no, not right now. Of course.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, we could do it
in a
next
few
week
weeks or something.
Yeah, exactly. We could do it in a couple.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, they have a really nice community of artists that just like that were never even into blockchain until they found out about it on Clubhouse.
What up, y'all? So what's going on in this room? Just was curious because Irvin was in here, but then he left, so just wanted to know.
So this is the after party. We just had a room with Bruno, who's the founder of RMRK NFTs, which is like an NFT system on platform on Kusama. And also, Unique was there as well. So we're just hanging out, answering questions, talking about some NFTs, and everybody who's on the stage is required to be an NFT from either RMRK or from Unique. So RMRK's website is singular.rmrk.app. That's singular.remrk.app, and you can find, if you hit the explore button, you can find like tons of different NFTs and just like put one as your picture. But yeah, I mean, if you had questions on anything,
can you spin me one up of this photo?
you want me to mint an NFT of your Bitcoin is King? Absolutely. I can teach you how to do it. It's pretty easy actually.
Well, so that I can meet the criteria, because I'm not going to use the middle finger.
So, right this second, I mean, you can just picture. It's like, yeah. Just go on to RMRK, go on to singular.rmrk.app, and then you just click create. You create a collection, and then you could mint inside of that collection. So first you create the collection, and then after that you select the collection, and then add a file to the collection. If you want a limited number of, make sure, so you can either have an unlimited collection or you can have like a limited collection. So just you have to select that at when you mint it, and you can't change that after you mint it. So if it's unlimited, it'll always be unlimited. If it's say like a collection that only contains 100 items, then you could max only put 100 items in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 100. I like that. By symbol, what is this like? What is it asking me?
So the symbol, the collection symbol is going to be. Yeah, so when you create a collection, it asks you to put a square image, which is just going to be it's like the picture for the collection. So like if you look up the collection, and it'll be like all your NFTs, but that'll be like the one picture that like symbolizes the whole collection.
Yeah, and the symbol, you can just click the magic wand next to wherever it's offered if you don't want to bother with it. If you click on the magic wand next to the collection logo, it'll just default to the RMRK logo. And if you click the magic wand next to symbol, it'll just generate something for you.
Oh yes, that's the. So it's like
It's just a
tag.
unique identifier on chain, like a tag that you want to apply to your collection, so that it's unique on chain.
How much is minting?
It's like super cheap.
Damn.
Hey, Nicholas.
Gotta get minting.
What's up?
So when you're saying NFTs can own other NFTs, and it can potentially be viewed in a meta space of some sort, does that have to be like the same creator that created an NFT to be able to be owned by another NFT, or can I make something like, say, Chris puts his logo on there? Can that logo be put onto your canary egg?
Yeah, so these are two different concepts. NFTs owning other NFTs and NFTs equipping NFTs is not the same thing. So
okay, gotcha.
You can as a like,
so once I create a collection, sorry. Go.
Once you have an NFT, you can send it to any other NFT, and that other NFT is going to own it. But it's not going to have a visual effect on it or any functional effect. In order to have that effect, the owner of that NFT has to equip your NFT. And the equipping logic is also not something you can do just on any collection. It defines on the person who made the collection. So for example, for the Canary birds, we are going to whitelist certain collections of items that can be equipped on them. And so that if like 2 years down the line, Nike comes into the DeFi space and says these goddamn birds are everywhere, we gotta put our like Nike headband on them, we can charge them to whitelist their collection of items to slap onto the birds, and they're not gonna slap them on automatically to everybody's birds. It's up to them to mint them, send them out to all the bird owners, and then talk them into wearing those headbands with, I don't know, web shop discounts or whatever.
Gotcha. Cool.
But yeah,
so
you actually have control over who can mint items that are compatible with your NFT.
What criteria would it have to be able to, be equipped onto something? Does it have to meet certain?
Jesus Christ! Of course, my followers are just gonna come plague you guys with questions. So here's the thing: after I've created the collection, right?
Yeah.
Then what do I do?
Then you create an NFT in that collection. So you just click on that
so
collection.
when I go to your space, so I'm in my space and I don't see the one that I just.
Yeah, you created a collection. Those are not visible. These are just like empty containers that you're going to be minting NFTs into. So now you go to create again and select that collection you minted.
Oh, but
so you're gonna put your NFT into that collection you minted.
Oh, I don't see that though. I don't see the one I just created.
So did you go back to press the create again?
Yeah, I'm back in create now, and it says create a single NFT, but now it wants me to choose collection, and
so
it says create. It asked me to create one again.
Did you successfully submit the transaction? Everything went fine?
Oh, you know what? I forget about blockchains. So, at a base level, it looks like AWS or something. You know what I'm saying? But then, let's wait for the transaction. Yeah, you're right.
Well, the transaction should happen like relatively quickly. It should be like a few seconds. So do you have your
wait, hold on. How much? I need KSM in the wallet. How much though?
Like 2 cents.
Like 2 cents, 3, like 10 cents.
Because I'm realizing right now it's asking me for KSM because I have none in this Polkadot.js wallet.
There you go then. Yeah, that's it. So you
That's
do
the
need
problem.
in order to be able to actually do anything, you will have to have more than the existential deposit, and that's like 33 micro KSM, I think.
Okay, so who wants to sell me 0.1 fucking KSM? I'll tip you on Stripe.
I can send you some KSM. It doesn't even need to be that much.
All right, I'll put the address to you on Twitter. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, about criteria to equip an item. The item, it's a bit hard to explain in the audio, but the item has to have the resource that will be shown on the parent NFT. And this resource has to have a slot definition that will match the slot on the parent NFT. So if my bird, canary bird, the base of the bird has a slot called wing1 slot, then any item from a set of whitelisted collections that you can equip that has a resource that's also named wing1 slot in its resources will be compatible with that slot. So there are a couple of conditions that these NFTs have to meet to be fully compatible, but this is all automated and abstracted away in the tools.
Thank you. That's awesome.
So that's like pretty much so as the person who mints it, the NFT can kind of select and what the specifications are. Like so, if you said wing 1, wing 2, and then anybody else can create an NFT that would get applied to wing 1, wing 2. Is am I understanding correctly?
Yes, but the maker of the original NFT also then has to whitelist that which they made in order to make it equipable. So you can't just you can have like a wildcard whitelist so that everything's allowed, but we added this permissioning logic in there so that somebody can't just come down and override all of your art. Because if somebody were to mint, let's say we're dealing with a layered SVG NFT that puts SVGs one on top of the other, and you allowed the slot with the highest Z index, which means that it's above everything else, you allowed that to equip items from any collection. And so now I can mint just a huge green screen in that as a name for that slot, and I could put fuck you all guys a message on that green screen. And so if you equip that onto the bird, it will override everything else. It will just become a green screen with that message. So you have to have some control over what becomes compatible with your art, with your NFTs, with your ideas.
Real quickly, just to follow up, because my phone was charging when it was originally asked of me. On the 1 hour, Kusama's making a V-bottom recovery, but it has met resistance at the midline of the Bollinger Bands, so we are looking right now at a breaking point for it. If we are able to come back above this, assuming the Bitcoin doesn't fall apart, because we do have a rising Bitcoin dominance, which means that it is stealing the market share right now. So with that being said, all the alts are bleeding actually into Bitcoin. It's not really their US dollar value that's being sold off. People aren't just flipping their Kusama to cash, okay? What they're doing is they're flipping their Kusama to Bitcoin because Bitcoin's at a structural low area, and they had a pretty nice pump against the BTC pairing recently. So did Sushi, so did obviously Ethereum is still doing well against Bitcoin, but you saw something like Doge suffer bigger, right? Why? Because Doge was selling in US dollar, not Bitcoin. So it would suggest that the Kusama price change
You just cut out there.
Chris, we lost.
We also have an echo.
It's coming from Chris's mic, but I just muted him. Hopefully you can figure it out. Hey Ron, what's up?
No, I was just trying to still grasp that whole whitelist thing. So is it just basically saying like the Canary Egg NFT owner would have to whitelist another artist to be able to equip one of their slots, say on their wing, to allow for an NFT to be equipped on it. So for instance, like Bitcoin King could make his logo into a shield and place it on the Canary Egg's wing slot number 1, if the NFT owner of Canary Egg allows that. Is that correct?
Close, but it's not he who places it on the slot. It's the owner of the NFT. It's the owner of the bird. So he can send that shield into the bird, and then the owner of the bird equips it. But it's not going to be visible unless that collection is whitelisted. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. I understand that.
So wait, I got confused now. So who does the whitelisting? Is it the creator of like the person who mints the NFT, or the owner of the NFT?
It is.
All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Hope you guys enjoyed the talk. And definitely like and subscribe everyone mentioned in the video. That's RMRK, that's Unique Network. Definitely check out Singular Marketplace, White Label Marketplace. Be sure to follow Bruno, and I will let you guys go.